and we are taking off from St. Louis and heading towards Denver, Colorado. This is our Colorado trip, more specifically Colorado Springs, Colorado. Just a little bit of Denver stops. We are headed there for Dad's 60th birthday celebration. So it's a whole family affair. We're really excited to finally be celebrating. I took some footage from the plane because I thought the sunrise was just so beautiful. Once we got to Denver, I saw this house with a pumpkin patch in their front yard and just wanted to share because I thought it was really unique and interesting. And this is my first glimpse of, I guess, what is the foothills of the Rockies is what we decided. So you're going to see a lot of me just filming mountain ranges because I just couldn't stop. So these are, I think, the foothills now that I've actually seen some of the Rockies. This is heading into Red Rocks National Park. We did one day in Denver, just kind of hitting a couple of the main highlights in the area, and Red Rocks was, to say the least, absolutely amazing, breathtaking. The altitude really kicked my butt, though, I will say. Inside of Red Rocks, they have this music hall of fame. So we walked through there and they just have a bunch of different memorabilia from different artists. And then they also show every single concert or show and the date for every show they've ever had at Red Rocks. So that was really cool just to kind of see everybody that's been there, and the Beatles have been there, which I thought was really cool. To be able to see the Beatles at Red Rocks was, I'm sure, just absolutely amazing. We went on this little hike kind of around Red Rocks, which was really pretty. And we got to see the John Denver kind of memorial statue, which was really cool as well. Just the views, like I said, are just breathtaking, immaculate. We don't have anything like this in St. Louis, so this was quite interesting for me. Next, we headed to the Columbine Memorial. This is something that I really wanted to do, just pay my respects while we were there. So I just took some footage of some of the quotes that they had on this outer wall that I thought were just kind of unique or interesting, or made you reflect on things. And then there's also an inner ring of remembrance for the 13 individuals that died, and each of their families wrote some information and things about them. So it was cool just to be able to see that and be there. I think it was a sombering experience, and I'm really glad that we were able to go and just experience it and pay our respects. And I will say, if you ever are in the Denver area, this park in general, this is Clement Park. This was a beautiful park just to hang out in, or just be a part of in general. So it's overlooking the Rocky Mountains. It just was a really beautiful view. Had a lot of really nice walking paths. Definitely a park that I wish we would have kind of at home. Just some more footage of the Rockies. This is us heading from Denver down to Colorado Springs, and we are heading to the Garden of the Gods next. I'm just gonna get over how pretty these mountains were. So this is entering the Garden of the Gods, which was quite amazing to see all these just miraculous rock forms and kind of learn a little bit about the history of the area. A lot of Native American history from what we read. I didn't take too much footage in the Garden of the Gods, but it was cool just to be in there and walk around, and I have a lot of photos and things like that. So something I would recommend. For dinner that night, we stopped at Ted's Montana Grill, and we had some bison. I guess bison is a thing in Colorado, so I thought I would try it. So I had a bison burger, a mushroom bison burger, and the other members of my family had bison as well, and it was quite tasty. Right outside of Ted's there was these Adirondack chairs overlooking the Rocky Mountains, and when we came out of dinner, it was sunset, and oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. So we sat in these little Adirondack chairs right here and just watched the sun go down for a little bit, was just such a nice view. This will seem familiar later because we'll be coming back later in the week. This is the view outside of my bedroom window in our Airbnb. Just a really nice view of Pikes Peak. The next day, we did the Manitou Incline. And if you don't know anything about the Manitou Incline, it is 2,700 steps straight up a mountain. And we all attempted it. My brother actually finished it, so that's awesome. We're super proud of him. But the rest of the party, we did at least part of it, so I think everybody felt good with what they did. And here is the incline. Here is me going up the little bit that I did, and just some of the views from the incline were just immaculate. So beautiful. Once you either bail off of the incline or you get to the top and you come down, you take a trail down to the bottom. And so you're walking a trail through the Rocky Mountains, and the trail was just so pretty. The views were just amazing. I wish that I could do this trail again. I joked that I wish somebody could take me up the mountain, the 2,700 steps, and drop me and let me walk down it just to have that view again. Next, we headed to North Cheyenne Canyon Park. We had lunch here just by a little stream and just kind of drove around the park. This was a beautiful area, for just like a nice lunch, and the park in general was just so nice. There were definitely some trails that we were interested in possibly taking in this park, but to be honest, it was pretty hot while we were here, so we didn't hike as much as I think we all had maybe anticipated hiking. But I would highly recommend this park if you are in the area. It was so beautiful. And we really enjoyed it. That night we headed to Pueblo, Colorado, and we did their little river walk. It was different than what I was expecting. I thought it would be a little bit more commercialized, but it was really nice that it was just kind of quiet and really nice just to like walk around the little river walk. And we had dinner down there as well. Headed next to downtown Colorado Springs just to check out what the downtown of Colorado Springs is like. And it's kind of a really small little area. We walked around, went to a few shops, and just kind of got a feel for the place. It probably isn't like any sort of downtown that you are anticipating, but it was fun. Again, just more mountains. Like I said, I just took as many kind of mountain photos or videos as I could. So next we are on the Royal Gorge train ride, and this was my dad's 60th birthday kind of adventure that we decided to go on, and it was just absolutely amazing. So you take a train ride next to the Royal Gorge River. It's a 2-hour train ride out and back, and just the views and everything were beautiful. If you guys decide to take this train ride, I would highly recommend you get a seat like in the train, but they also have these open like cable cars that you can stand out on, and I would highly recommend doing that. That's what we did the whole 2 hours, and you really get a really great view of the mountains and the river and everything. If you don't want to stand out in the open, I would recommend, if you can, get on the left side of the train, because the left side is where you're going to have all of the views. The other side has views too, but it's of the rocks. So at least on the left side, we came up here, saw some views, and then you also can see dinosaur tracks in some of the walls, and so you'd be on the lookout for that. They have signs for it, and it's pretty clear what the dinosaur tracks are, so that was super cool. We have photos of us touching the dinosaur tracks and stuff, and yeah, just kind of a unique experience. Birthdays call for some sort of dessert, so we headed to Colorado City Creamery in Old Colorado Springs and had some ice cream to celebrate the 60th birthday boy. And then we headed back to that Ted's Montana Grill area and sat in these Adirondack chairs and watched the Cowboys-Buccaneers game and just hung out. And it was just so beautiful to see the sun going down and just kind of experience some peace and quiet and, you know, look at the mountains. So that was really cool. And today is our last day in Colorado. We are heading home tonight, so I wanted to share just one final peek of the view from our Airbnb from the room that I was in. Just so beautiful. We headed over to Pike's Peak. We are taking a train up to the top of Pike's Peak summit. Obviously, you can hike it. We are not those people. So this is the little depot where the train was at. This is the Cog Depot. Really pretty, just set in the mountains. And here is the train that is going to take us up. If you guys ever want to do this, it's an hour and 10 minute train ride to the top. You're up at the top of the summit for like 30 to 40 minutes-ish. And then it's another, hour train ride back down. I didn't get too much footage when we were actually on the train because the windows had a big glare and reflection, so kind of waited just till we got to the very top of the summit. But you guys, the views on the way up and of course at the top are just immaculate. So pretty. They have a lot of viewing points at the top of the summit. They also have a gift shop and like restrooms and different things like that, a little museum. You can drive up to the summit as well. I would recommend the train just because the person that is driving the vehicle obviously doesn't get to see a whole lot, but well worth it. Then our very last stop before heading to the airport was in Denver. We headed to Coors Field. This is something that was on my kind of wish list because I love baseballs and we're just kind of a baseball family in general. So I wanted to see it. So we just saw the outside of it, walked around, had to see the Arenado little banner there because Arenado is a St. Louis Cardinal now. So just took some footage of different cool things that I saw around the stadium, including the Sandlot bar that they have. How awesome is that? Tried to get a sneak peek into the stadium as well. Couldn't see a whole lot, but just was cool just to, walk around it and see different parts of a new stadium. This is the one statue that they have outside called the Player. Yeah, and that was the last thing that we did for our Colorado trip. It was absolutely glorious. So now it is time to go home, back to St. Louis. You can kind of ever so barely see the mountains in the distance there. It just looks like a shadow. But I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing everything that we did in Colorado, and I will see you in my next one.